welcome into Hold My Banner. If you love this show, and we know you do, well, first of all, thank you. Secondly, check out Boston has entered the chat here on Nesson as well. We catch up with former Patriot great Drew Bledsoe. Yeah, you heard me. Drew Bledsoe pulls up. Check us out. Boston has entered the chat. Can be found on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else you get your podcasts. All right, here we go. Hold My Banner trade deadline edition. Travis Thomas here with the walking, talking triple-double. No, we did not trade him. Yes, he is still here. Ountae Campbell, what's up, pimpin'? We would never trade you.
What's up, TTs? What an exciting deadline that we just had.
It was.
It was very exciting, bro. I can't wait to divulge into all of it, man. I'm feeling like Windhorse.
Oh, okay. I'm looking forward to that. Well, let us divulge. By the way, Ountae gave me the stat. I want to share it with you all. 8 different NBA All-Stars have been traded since this past weekend up to now, to this deadline.
Insane.
8!
Insane.
I mean, Ountae, before we even get into this.
Yes.
Ratings are down. Interest is waning. It's Super Bowl week.
Yeah.
Adam Silver said, you know what? Hold my beer. I mean, honestly, it's hold my banner, but hold my beer.
Yeah.
Because every damn all-star in this league feels like they've moved teams now. They've been traded. That's one way you can generate interest, is it not? During Super Bowl week at that.
Yeah, if you would have told me even half of these guys would be on these teams at the end of this season, I would have told you were a liar. So it's crazy. I can't wait to watch it. This is box office. I know Godell is just over there mad about the fact that the Super Bowl is not getting much coverage right now because the NBA everyone's got their eyes on it.
He shouldn't be mad. If he gave us some new blood, it'd be great. But we're tired of seeing the same damn Super Bowl every year. You know what I mean?
Facts.
All right, let's get to the trade deadline, and we'll start with Jimmy Butler, who we have talked about on this show. I mean, honestly, first of all, we thank all of you for watching Hold My Banner, but if you've played a drinking game, now how many times we've talked about Jimmy Butler drama, you are hammered right now. It is over. Jimmy Butler traded to the Warriors for Andrew Wiggins, Schroder, who later was bought out. I don't know. Was he traded, bought out?
Yeah.
Is he in the G League? Where the hell is he?
Yeah.
Kyle Anderson and a protected first-round pick. So let's get into this.
Yeah.
Butler to the Warriors. I texted you this.
You did.
I said, this is the first move I've seen in the Steph era. I don't want to call it the Splash Brothers era because Klay's gone now.
Yes.
It's just Steph, right? This is the first time I remember thinking, well, this is stupid. Like, this isn't going to work. What are the Warriors doing?
Yeah.
They are usually, and they've built a brand, again, in the Steph era, they've built a brand of being smart, being ahead of everyone, one step faster. We're smarter than you. We're sharp. This feels like all the other teams in the league, not named the Celtics, this feels like panic. This feels like we have to do something. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Butler does not work, not only with the culture, but with the style in which his team plays. And furthermore, he came out publicly and said, yeah, I don't want to go to the Warriors.
Yeah.
Now, I know he signed an extension. I get it. Money changes things.
Yes, it does.
Maybe Steph jumped on the phone. We don't know. But I just don't love this move for the Warriors. I don't necessarily think that it works. And then on the other side of it, for the Heat, they got back some pretty good players here, Ountae.
Yeah, they did. The Heat got a lot of good assets out of this trade, no question about that. I'm looking at this from the Warriors' perspective, and it's just as much as this. People are saying, oh, him and Draymond are going to crash out together. They're going to be fighting. It's going to be Jordan Poole versus Draymond all over again, right? We're going to see fighting and swinging in practice. I want to let everybody know right now off rip before I start talking about the basketball side of this trade is that these two dudes have never had any issues with other knuckleheads on their team. You have to remember, Draymond had Chris Paul, who can be known as a knucklehead in the NBA sense. If he gets a ton of texts, he has refs he doesn't like. He fought with a lot of guys in games and stuff like that. Even most recently with Giannis, he was talking smack to him. So he never had any issues with CP3. You never saw any of that. If anything, they were going at other people together. Same thing with Jimmy Butler. He never had an issue with Rondo, who also could have been known to be a knucklehead during his NBA time. When he had Rondo on his team, he was all locked in, and they were really fighting other teams. You know what I'm saying? So I think you're going to get crash outs for sure.
Oh, yeah.
No question about that. That's coming. But Jimmy is going to be focusing all of his energy on the other opposing team, and so is Draymond. That's what I like about this trade is that you're going to have – I think I tweeted out, what did I say, from Splash Bros to Crash Bros?
I can't believe you didn't have that tweet here.
I have it up on the side.
You're too humble.
Rails. But look, you're going to get that. This team is going to have a different identity. It's not the team that shoots threes that is the Warriors way that we've known in the Steph era that you've talked about.
Sure.
They will be a team that does score baskets in a different light. They have a terrible true shooting percentage. Jimmy Butler's not going to add to that, but I can tell you this. He's going to add winningness. He's going to add grittiness to this Warriors team. Was this enough? Like Kendrick said, it's not enough.
It's not enough.
It's not enough. But this does help the Warriors, I believe, go from a team that I saw not making the playoffs to being at least a playoff team. Are they still getting bounced in the first round? Probably.
Then it's stupid.
Probably. But
this is dumb.
Maybe in the offseason something else changes. I don't know. But I do like this deal as far as them trying to appease their star and Steph Curry. I'll say that. He begged for them to help him. And they went and got him some type of help.
Okay.
And Jimmy Butler does bring that. And then when I look at the assets that they gave up, I mean, you look at Wiggins, he was a part-time player. That's just the honest truth. Sometimes he was playing for the Warriors. Sometimes he wasn't. You know what I mean? He had a lot of extenuating circumstances throughout the end of his Warriors tender that caused him to miss time on the court. So, okay, you lose him. Lindy Waters, I'm not too mad about that. Kyle Anderson, not too mad about that. So when you look at, a draft picks for a team like the Warriors, they don't really matter. You know what I mean? They're in kind of win now. No, I wouldn't say they're ready to win now, but they're in win now, help Steph now mode. Draft picks don't do that, right? So I like them going to get something that helps them when they had a lot of guys that they let go. With even Schroder. That wasn't doing much for them. He's with the Pistons now, officially. And they're going to keep him on the roster.
I couldn't keep up all day. Every time I looked, he was getting traded to a new place.
Right.
Well, okay, first of all, you want to quote Kendrick. Mine is, I couldn't disagree with you more stylistically. It's turn the TV off because I don't want to watch it. I don't think it works. Jimmy Butler and Steph, Draymond, it doesn't fit. Jimmy Butler can't shoot.
You're right.
Stylistically, culturally even. I hear you. He adds a little grit and toughness. That's not the brand. That's my point. Like, I see them as a floor spacing, great shooting. Steph's smarter than you. Yeah. Get to your spot. Give him the ball. Let him make the right decision with the ball.
Right.
He doesn't always have to shoot. He's an underrated passer. So is Draymond. Mm-hmm. Draymond gives you the grit and the toughness. They didn't need Jimmy Butler. So I disagree stylistically. Okay. It's turn the TV off for me. However, I do agree with you appeasing Steph.
Yes.
And that is a big part of this.
Yes.
Showing your guy, we're trying. We know you're on the back nine of your prime. Mm-hmm. We're going to try to get one more championship here. And you make a great point. You get to the offseason, what can you add?
Right.
Okay, so I'll give you that. As far as this season goes, I'll be honest with you. The Heat won this trade. Right now, currently, at the taping of this podcast, the Heat are 6th in the East.
Yeah.
And they have, let's call it what it is. I mean, they're not the most talented team in the world.
At all.
But they have not fallen off a cliff without Jimmy Butler.
They
got used to not having Jimmy Butler. They are still their culture. Toughness, grit, hard out, rock fight. Mm-hmm. They're in all these games. With this trade, I think they're a playoff team still comfortably.
Yeah.
They're not going to – I don't think they'll win a series. Maybe if they match up with someone weak-ass, maybe. Right. But more than likely, they'll probably be bounced in the first round.
Yeah.
As I look at the Warriors, at the taping of this podcast, they are on the outside looking into a play-in. I just don't even think – maybe you improve a little to get in play-in-ville, but I don't think this team is going anywhere fast this season. I would bet money that even if the Warriors make the playoffs, they will suffer the same fate as the Heat and be bounced expeditiously if they make it.
Yes. Before we move on to the next trade, I have to say this, though. Jimmy Butler does bring a spark. You know what I mean? A team that has been having a lull. The Warriors started off hot.
Yeah.
They've had a lull. When you get into a locker room and guys are starting to get complacent and that starts to breed, and it just only builds as the season goes along. You get a good win here. You have a bad loss there. You know, nothing really matters. You know, once you kind of build that, we're not really a championship team and we kind of know it, that kind of builds. Now you have a new dude in the building who's going to come in with a lot of energy and intensity because he's excited to play basketball. That's the thing about Jimmy Butler. When he plays, he gives you his all. And when he's in on you, he gives you his all. They signed him to an extension already. They gave him $121 over 2 years, which is a lot of money. But that shows they're invested in Jimmy Butler, which means they're going to get the best of what Jimmy Butler has. And on top of that, you had Kuminga, who is vying to be the second guy, right, on the Warriors. He wants to be, Curry and him, right? Playing well. But there were times where he was doing knucklehead stuff and not swinging the ball one more and not doing that. Now, when you have two bona fide Hall of Famers, stars, sitting in front of him, and one of them being a chippy guy, like I'm telling you, with leadership, with Jimmy Butler,
who knows how to win,
who knows how to lead, who knows how to win, you know what I'm saying? He's going to say, hey, bro, you got to swing that rock one more time. And now maybe Kuminga doesn't come at them all hard-headed as much. So I like this from that perspective. Now, it's time to move on to the next trade.
Lake Show.
They finally got a big man. And everyone's been asking for this trade to happen. I mean, Anthony Davis asked for it to happen, and he got sent to Dallas.
Facts.
But they got a new trade. What do you think about this one, Travis Thomas?
I don't like it. I like Dalton Connect. We were just talking about him not too long ago, and I think he's in a shooting slump or something like that. That's what happens to shooters.
Yes.
Like, sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're not.
Yes.
It's just like I don't love it. I think the Lakers' future is really, you're not going to win anything now. Everyone can see that. So why are you going all in like the Mavericks are? You're not going to win with LeBron before it's over. We just talked about this with Steph.
Yes.
I think the Warriors, depending on the offseason they have, that's why I conceded to you, even though I hate the Jimmy Butler move. Mm-hmm. I agree with you in that it was smart to show Steph we're trying. Now you have Steph, Jimmy Butler, Kuminga, and you can add something.
Yes.
I get it. You have a chance.
Right.
The Lakers, I don't even know how much longer LeBron's going to play. Luka is the future. So Dalton Connect is who you need. Right. I think you need to keep shooters around so that they can grow with Luka. I don't love this move, but I do understand you are absolutely desperate. There's that word again. A lot of these teams are desperate.
Yes.
They were desperate for a center. I didn't know much about this Mark Williams guy, and it's because he doesn't play much. Right. He gets hurt. So AD, who we criticize for being banged up, you ship him out of there even though he helped you get a championship and he's the best player on your team, okay? You ship him out and you bring in this kid who is talented.
Yes.
But he doesn't play.
Yeah.
I think this is stupid. The Lakers were dumb.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it dumb. Up until this point, he's played 85 games through 3 seasons in his NBA career.
He doesn't play, Ountae.
But, there's more season to play, so he'll play some more games in this 3-year span, so maybe it ends up being 100 or 110 or whatever. But, I have to say this, all right? So let me lay out the trade for everybody because, we didn't lay it out. The Los Angeles Lakers are trading Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, and a 2031 unprotected first-round pick and a 2030 pick swap to the Charlotte Hornets for center Mark Williams. Now, I am with you, Travis. Mark Williams doesn't play. He doesn't hurt. And I'm with you. They are stupid to sit there and say, Anthony Davis, because we know how L.A. is and how their fans are there. Day-to-day Davis and,
right.
All the nicknames that Anthony Davis had for not showing up and not playing in games.
Right.
And he finally got to the point where it looks like now he's going to be healthy and available. And I say this, obviously, as he misses the Celtics Mavericks game due to health. But he's supposed to play Saturday, so we'll see that. But Anthony Davis was supposed to be the big of the future for the Lakers. He was the guy that they were riding on originally. But they switched. They went and got Luka. And in this situation, I think that this is a good trade for the Los Angeles Lakers. Not because I trust Mark Williams to be healthy. Not at all. Not because I think that he's going to make a big difference for this Lakers team, because I think he has a lot of rim protection deficiencies right now. Like, he has the capabilities. He's only 23, and that's what they're banking on, the fact that he's going to progress.
Him and Luka together.
What I like is the fact that Luka told them, hey, it worked for me and Gafford. It worked for me and D Live. And they were like, okay, we're going to get you that kind of player.
That athletic
and so
big,
they went
right?
and got that, which shows that they're done being like, hey, Bron, this is your opportunity. This is your team, blah, blah, blah.
It's Luka.
This ain't Bron's team no more. This is Luka Doncic's team. And in order to make the Luka trade work, which I had problems with a couple of days ago and still to this day have some problems with, they have to make sure that Luka re-signs with the Lakers 2 seasons from now, after next year.
I agree with that.
So if you're going to do that, you got to make Luka happy, and this is what he wanted, so he should be happy. So I like it from that perspective.
I think that's fair for you to say. I guess my beef, I've seen a lot of Lakers fans talking a lot of smack. I mean, this starting five can compete with anyone in the West? Maybe, but your bench is trash. Like,
garbage.
I don't. Who are they beating? They're not beating anyone in a 7-game series. Not yet. To your point, because I agree. I think the future's bright for the Lakers. I think Luka's a fantastic player to build around, in yesteryear, looking ahead. But
if he plays defense,
But right now, this team, the starting lineup, great. Congratulations. You will lose to the Nuggets or the Thunder or the Rockets you're not beating anyone. That's my issue.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, I think Lakers fans are always very excited and overzealous about how good their teams are and how good their players are. But I'm right there with you. I heard people saying that there are Western Conference Finals lock now at the very least. I just don't see it. I see this Lakers team winning a series. I don't see them winning 2, depending on the matchup. Once again, you have to remember, Mark Williams, a good big. He's going to be good. I mean, he averaged about 18 and 10 with the Hornets when he did play. But AD's last game as a Laker was against Mark Williams, and he put up 20 and 10 in the first quarter.
Oh, my God.
And 40 and 20 in a game.
So
what do you think AD's going to do to him in the playoff series if they meet up? What do you think Nikola Jokic is going to do to him in the playoff series if they meet up? I'm a little worried about that.
Well, I mean, listen, just think about what you said that these Laker fans are saying. Western Conference Finals lock. Yeah, okay. Here's what you do. You want to see a real lock? Go bet that. And what you'll see is the repo man locking your car on the rack to take it away because you've lost everything. I did like this trade, though. The Bucks sent Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, and a pick swap to the Wizards for Kyle Kuzma, Patrick Baldwin Jr., and a second-round draft compensation. A lot of hate on Kyle Kuzma. A lot of people saying, you could tell Chris Middleton's washed. They gave him away for nothing for Kyle Kuzma. Meanwhile, I guess I'm on an island here because I like Kyle Kuzma. We've talked about him on the show as I've made fun of the Washington Wizards. And I said the only player I like on that team is Kyle Kuzma because he's consistent. Jordan Poole's not a loser or is not a savior. He was bought in to be a savior, and he's a loser. Kyle Kuzma also not great, but he's consistent, and he's shown that he can be on winning teams as a piece. That's what this is for the Bucks. They needed a third option more than I need a haircut. I mean, honest to God, Giannis and Dame, that was it. Now you get this kid who I think can be a decent third option.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Now, I think where people are going is that he's having a generationally bad shooting year.
He is.
In the Wizards.
You know what will help? Giannis and Dame.
Right. He's had some health issues. I think it's more of you play for a terrible team. No offense to the Washington Wizards.
No, offend them.
But you haven't been good.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Offend
You've been playing losing basketball ever since he stepped in the door over there. And so I think he's kind of tired of playing losing basketball. I've been to those digs. You obviously covered them. Well, the Wizards gym, arena, pop. I don't even know about what I'm trying to say about it, but it just doesn't inspire you to want to play winning basketball. You know what I mean? Nothing about Chocolate City makes you want to say, hey, let's go win some basketball games here. Let's take this job seriously. I think he got tired of being there. I mean, you have to remember, this was a dude who played with LeBron James.
That's right.
You know, he came out of Utah playing for the Lakers and being donned as the guy in one of the meccas of basketball, right? So he's now having the opportunity to play for a team that's been so terrible. I think this was a great pickup for the Bucks. Is this a needle mover? No. Honestly, it's not. They're in the 5 seed right now.
Yeah.
I think they move up to the 4 with this.
Me too.
I don't see them cracking in the top 3. They're not better than the Cleveland Cavaliers, who we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
They're not better than the Boston Celtics for sure. And they're definitely not better than the Knicks, unless the Knicks get run into the ground by Tom Thibodeau. So I just think that this is a great move for them because they got him at a low buy.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
They got him at a low
and
rate.
they need it. That's a need.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
I agree. Listen, here's where I'll push back a little.
Okay.
I agree they'll probably be 4. I could move them up to 4, and I'll stay with you. Definitely Cavs, definitely Celtics better. Where I will push back slightly is the Knicks, and here's why. I could see the Bucks finishing 4th in the East, Ountae. Where you and I differ, I think, is by the time we get to the postseason. I've just seen it too many times to not bank on it at this point.
OG's already hurt right now, so you know
The Knicks
I'm right there with
their
you.
gas light will be on.
Yes.
I've seen it too many times.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bank on that. And so I would actually bet that the Bucks go on a deeper playoff run than the Knicks. I don't mind taking that bet. Where I jump off of the Bucks train here, my friend, is if we're talking, can they, in a 7-game series with Giannis, Dame, and Kuzma, can they beat the Cavs? Can they beat the Celtics? I would answer no to both right now today.
Yeah.
I would. But I think I would take them to go on a deeper run than the Knicks.
Okay.
Do you say? Can you at least see that?
I could see it.
Okay.
I mean, we'll talk more about it later, but I could see that.
All right. Hawks traded forward DeAndre Hunter to Cleveland for Karis LeVert, your boy George Niang, and 3 second-round picks and 2 swaps.
Hey, why are you laughing, dog?
You love Niang, don't
Why
you?
are you laughing, dog? You know what I'm saying? Why
Ain't that your man, yo?
Why are you laughing, dog?
Every time I see his name, I think about you now.
Hey, man,
Why do you
look.
dislike Niang so much? Let's start there.
We're not starting there.
Let's unpack this.
No, we're not starting there. I'm going to unpack the fact that this is a great trade for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
It is.
A team that I have been low on all season.
Yes.
And they're sitting here at, one of the best records in the league, best top of the East. And they go out and they replace a guy in Karis LeVert who's a good player,
He's playing
but
well.
hasn't, lived up to what they thought he could be as the third option, really scoring option, I should say,
Yes.
or fourth scoring option,
Yes.
I should say, for this Cavaliers team. And so they went and got a bigger, more physical,
He plays defense, too.
killer on defense.
Yeah, dude.
And on top of that, as good of a scorer probably as Karis LeVert is, and kind of fits more of what their team needs, which is less of a playmaker and more of a, hey, I'm a catch and shoot
system.
Go get it, whatever you need me to do, plug in kind of scorer. 1-2 dribble pull up kind of guy, go to the rim, finish at the rim kind of guy.
Great
I
fit.
love this fit for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I think a lot of people aren't paying attention to it. This is a sneaky one. This is one where in my brain it turns off from hey, maybe they could lose to the Celtics in 5, which I still believe, especially after watching that game on Tuesday, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But I think this Cleveland Cavaliers team can go from a losing 5 to the Celtics type of team to maybe this does go to 7, and maybe they could beat the Celtics. We'll see.
What about the Hawks side of things? Because you've been really outspoken, I would call it, of Trae Young.
Yeah.
At some point forcing his hand and saying, you know what, we made it to an Eastern Conference Finals. I've been loyal. I got the bag. There's billboards of him in Atlanta.
Yep.
But it's my time. I want to go win now. Get me out of here. Do you think, because I know how much you love Niang, do you feel like at some point here, because the Hawks suck.
Yeah.
Trae Young's going to say, you know what? Enough is enough.
Yeah, I think they're buying into the tank. They also traded Bogdan Bogdanovic during this trade deadline, right before the trade deadline as well. That's right. So I think they're buying into the tank. Jalen Johnson is hurt. Clint Capella was being shopped a little bit during this trade deadline.
Yeah.
He ends up staying a Hawk at least at this time.
For now.
But, I believe that this summer is the summer we get Trae Young asking out of Atlanta.
So after the season, he has one more season and then a player option, right?
Right.
Man, I mean, if it's not this summer, he could ask this summer, but if it doesn't get done this summer, definitely next year, this time trade deadline, Trae Young's going to be the big fish getting moved, don't you think?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you can't have that guy just walk out of your life and you don't get anything for him.
Right. Exactly. You can't. And so I think, like you said, because he's going to opt out.
Yeah.
He's going to ask for more money. And somebody's going to give it to him.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So he's going to opt out. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying, yeah, Trae Young is looking at the writing on the wall and he's going to say, hey, letting you know I'm opting out. I'm probably not going to return after this season. Let's get ahead of it. Let's not even get halfway through the season and figure this out. Let's just try to do this now. And I think Landry Shamet and co. are going to say, yeah, I mean, you're right. Excuse me, not Landry Shamet. Landry Fields is going to say, yeah, let's get this done.
You don't think Niang will convince him to stay, and that's not enough for him to?
All right, bro. Tell him what else we're doing in the rest of the episode, bro. Let's keep this thing rolling.
We'll tell you who's closer to beating the Celtics or not. But first, want to hear all about Boston sports? Check out Nesson's daily sports podcast. Boston has entered the chat. You, too, can enter the conversation by tweeting at us using the hashtag NessonChat or email the chat at Nesson.com. Boston has entered the chat is available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else podcasts are found. I thought you liked George Niang. I'm so confused. All right, so let's spin this forward.
Okay.
I have a handful of teams here I want to talk to you about. Lakers, Mavs, Warriors, Heat, Spurs, Kings, Bucks, Cavs.
Yeah.
Sort of what happens next. We'll start with the Lakers. This season, it sounds like we're lockstep here of, yeah, they'll be a playoff team, but they're not beating anyone.
No.
It almost feels, you correct me if I'm wrong, it feels a lot like the Lakers are in a transition period.
Yes.
Where, obviously AD's gone. LeBron's on his way out.
Yep.
Whatever that looks like, however many years. We don't think long. And then it's Luka's time.
Yeah.
And so in this transitionary period they're in, they need to be competitive. They need to. I think they kind of need to do what they're doing. I think they just need to be relevant. Well, they always will be because they're Lakers, but just be a playoff team. Be interesting. And then when LeBron's gone, you completely build around Luka, and it's not a rebuild. It's just an add-on.
Yep.
You try to get stars to L.A. because it's L.A. and it's Luka. That's where the Lakers are. I don't see them mattering in this playoff run.
Yeah.
And maybe until you start that build around Luka. I think LeBron deep playoff runs are over. Forget championships. That ship's already sailed. I think deep playoff runs are over for LeBron.
So let me ask you this then.
Okay.
Okay, because I was thinking about this over the last couple of days with Luka now here, and I agree with you. This isn't a contending team. I think people are getting too hyped about the addition of Luka and the addition of Mark Williams and all of this stuff, and they're saying, hey, this is a playoff team. It's LeBron and Luka. These are two of the top 10, 15 players in the league. Of course they're going to make a finals push or something like that, and I don't see it that way. So let me ask you this.
Okay.
Why wait?
Yeah, that's
why
fair.
wait? Yeah. I mean, LeBron is going to opt out of his contract at the end of the year again. You know what I mean? And he might do another 1+1 with the Lakers. But if I'm the Lakers, why are we waiting to build around Luka if we know, which I feel like they probably kind of do know.
Yeah, they know
that they're not winning a championship with LeBron and Luka.
Sure.
Why wait?
Yeah, that's a fair question. I mean, timing-wise, bro, maybe that's a Trae Young move, right? Think of the timing.
Yeah.
It kind of times out perfectly. Trae Young wants out starting this offseason, we think. Lakers need to your point, why wait? Start now.
Yeah.
Go get Trae Young. Trae Young and Luka feels like it works to me, and then LeBron's just on for the ride until he rides off in the sunset.
And LeBron does a vet minimum in Cleveland.
That's right.
He does a vet
No,
minimum in
I think he's
Cleveland.
staying in L.A. But I think you're right. Why wait till he leaves to start a true build around Luka?
Yeah, will he take a team friendly deal, like a real team friendly deal?
Right,
like,
so they can go get some. Yeah.
Not $1 under
That's fair.
the second apron team
That's a good
friendly
point.
deal.
That's a good point,
You know,
Ountae.
is he going to take Brian, you're a billionaire. Yeah, I mean, you have a lifetime contract with Nike.
Yes.
You know, like how much more money do you need? You
That's a
got
good
your
point.
son in the league. Brian's going to get in the league off of your name alone.
Yeah.
Zuri could be a WNBA superstar if she wants to be off her name alone. Like, why wait?
By the way, not for nothing. I mean, there's no defense involved, but Trae Young, Luka, and LeBron kind of work. That kind of works. You're not going to win a title.
Does it?
Yeah, I think that works.
I don't know.
You're a playoff team. You're exciting.
Yeah, you're a playoff team.
They're going to score 1,000 points a game with
1,000
them.
points, but they ain't
They ain't
guarding
stopping nobody. They'll be worse than the Nuggets defensively. How about the Mavericks? I'm looking
Okay.
at their starting lineup.
Yeah.
Kyrie, Clay, PJ Washington, AD, Gafford, and then you got Dinwiddie, Caleb Martin coming off the bench. I mean, is this a championship team?
Yeah.
Can they get back to the finals?
I mean, I think so. I think they could get back to the finals. I'm being honest with you. I think they can get back to the finals. Are they a lock? No. I think the Thunder are the best team in the league.
I do
right?
too. In the West.
Right, in the West. Excuse me. Yes, in the West. But I think this team definitely could give a lot of problems. They solved the Jokic issue.
Got a lot of size.
They have AD.
Yeah.
They have Gafford. They have Lively.
They got a lot of size.
The Jokic issue will be fine. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm not really worried about them. OKC is the team I'm worried about. The Lakers aren't going to be able to physically match up with this team. Once again, I told you Mark Williams got destroyed by Anthony Davis the last time he saw him. So, I don't think the Lakers have any answers for AD or Derek Lively or any of that size matchup, right? They're going to score points if they were to match up, but I don't see it that way. So, and I'm not really too worried about Grizzlies. I think they're going to flame out in the playoffs. The Rockets, once again, I think they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. Do you know what I mean? As far as literally not being able to score the basketball from the perimeter once it comes playoff time. So, yeah, I could see them as a finals team. I definitely see them as a team that could make.
They could.
I feel like 50% chance they make the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, they could. I think I'm with
If
you.
healthy.
I'm with you with the Thunder over them. I would still have the Rockets over them, but I could see how you could argue Mavericks. The size is just that's a problem. I just have a problem believing in Kyrie in big moments. They're putting a lot of eggs in his baskets. I just don't know.
I mean, you can't say that. He hit the biggest shot of NBA history. You know what I'm saying? The shot that won the 3-1 comeback.
He did.
He hit the biggest shot in NBA history.
He did. That was a long time ago. Warriors, I think it's a disaster. I laid that out. I just, when you get to off season, if you're adding with Jimmy and Steph, wake me up then. But as far as this season, I don't think this team makes the playoffs. And if they do, they're going nowhere fast. What say you?
Yeah, they're not going anywhere fast. When's the last time that a mid-season trade has really elevated a team?
It's true.
You haven't seen that in a long, long time.
Yeah.
So I don't think this Jimmy Butler trade is going to make them immediately a contender or make them a real playoff push. Like I said, I think maybe a series depending on the matchup. Yeah. But other than that, they're flaming out.
Heat, I think this team's going to get in the playoffs. I think they'll be a tough out, and that'll be the end of that. But I like what they got back for Jimmy Butler, considering it was toxic, it was a mess, and every team in this league knew damn well that he was a problem, and they still couldn't fleece Pat Riley. Yeah. So I like this move for the Heat. I think they'll be a playoff team, but they'll lose in the first round.
I agree. First round out. I love that they're finally buying into Tyler Hero and Bam and leaning into that. They need another star. I think Hillel Ware is a good big that could possibly be that star for them in the future. But and Jaime Jaquez is obviously a great wing, but they need another bona fide star, which Miami always has, so they will get it eventually.
All right, Spurs. I'm going to tell you right now, that damn De'Aaron Fox. Oh, my God. Him and Wemby, I want them to get one more player so bad. I know it's not going to happen now, obviously. But I need a great offseason for San Antonio.
Did you see that? Did you see their first game?
Yes.
Their first game together. Fox had 13 dimes.
Yes.
Chris Paul had 9. So combined, they had 22. Hey, stop it. Hey. Don't
I said add another real player.
Hold on, bro.
Don't be bringing up Cliff.
Hold on, bro.
I like the Spurs, dog.
Stephon Castle was dunking on people.
Man, I like them, man.
Hey, man. Hey, they might.
Where are they at right now?
You're talking about future. Ooh. They might surprise some people.
They might surprise some people. So right now, taping of this podcast are right outside of the play-in. I fully expect. I have more faith in them getting to the playoffs than the Warriors. And if they get in, my God.
Yeah.
My God. That's a tough out, bro.
That's a tough out. I'm excited to watch more of this Spurs basketball. Watching that game the other night, I was so locked in. It was such great hoops. Fox looked happy. He didn't look like he had to force anything.
He was smiling.
It
laughing.
was great. Wemby was getting easy looks. They're a problem, and that's why I bring up Chris Paul too, because that veteran leadership that he's gonna bring to Fox and the Castle as they continue to grow and go on when CP leaves. You know what I mean? He's teaching them a lot. It's the same lessons that Harrison Barnes is teaching their forwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're learning how to win and how to be great guards and be feisty when they need to and be finesse when they need to. This is a great situation as a whole. The Spurs team, man, look out. If they get somebody else in the offseason or two, it could be even scarier,
De'Aaron Fox's old team, the Kings, what do you think there? I still think they're talented enough to be a playoff team, and I'm actually kind of excited for Zach LaVine in a way. Like, I want him to get in the playoffs so he could shut people up that call him a loser, even though I think he's a loser.
Yeah.
But I do want to see him at least get a chance to prove people wrong. But I don't think that team's going to win any playoff series.
Yeah, they're not winning any playoff series. I'm nervous for the Kings and their future because they're taking on some older guys who I've seen, and it hasn't worked. I watched their game as well.
Yeah.
It's the first game, so I'm not going to put too much stock into it. Zach LaVine didn't look that great.
No,
you know what I mean? But it is what it is. You know, he's moving from the East Coast to the West Coast. Short amount of time. He was healthy, so he played. I'm just not that high on this Kings team. Like, I'm nervous about their direction. Is Doug Christie going to be the head coach for the foreseeable future for them, or are they just going to roll with him through the rest of the season? What do they kind of go from here? Does DeMar want to stay?
They don't have an identity.
Right.
Yeah,
and so I'm nervous about that. I think Kings are going full rebuild mode within the next 2 seasons.
All right, for the sake of time, let's do these two together because I'm going to pose it as a question, the Bucks and the Cavs.
Okay.
You haven't been high on the Cavs from the beginning.
No.
You like the Kuzma move for the Bucks, but you don't love it.
Yes.
So I pose this.
Okay.
Which one of these two would push the Celtics further in a 7-game series? I'm going to go Cavs because they're deeper.
Yeah, Cavs.
Okay. It's no hezzy for you.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Cavs. I'm not even going to waste too much time with that. I think the Bucks still have some issues that they need to answer. Like I said, I need to see Kuzma shoot the ball higher than 28% from 3 in order to be like, the Bucks are legit now. Did they get rid of Chris Middleton? Yeah, that was a great thing to get rid of. It was time. He's a great player, but at this time, Father Time has kind of caught up to him.
Yep.
So I easily believe the Cavs, and especially after seeing them get DeAndre Hunter.
Man. Want the latest on the Patriots and the NFL? We'll tell you what Mike Vrabel and the Pats should do with the 4th pick in the NFL draft on Nesson's Football Podcast, Foxborough Rush. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else podcasts are found. All right, let's get into the winners and the losers of this thing. Give me let's go 2 winners and 2 losers each. For winners, Ountae, I think I have to, and you've been talking about it, and so have I think I have to go Cavs here.
Okay.
And you just said it, man. I mean, adding Hunter to that lineup with his defense, with the way he plays, he fits into the culture, he fits into the system. Mm-hmm. He's a winning player, at least going back to college.
Yes.
I just think it's a win for them, and it feels like the kind of move that they're gearing up for the Celtics, quite frankly. It's almost like we know we're going to see this team in the Eastern Conference Finals. How can we get more solid at what we're already very good at? Right. And I think that was a move here for the Cavs. My other one is the Bucks. I hear you on Kuzma, but a lot of that shooting. Yeah, dude. A lot of that.
All the other teams in the league?
Yes. Let me tell you why. A lot of that shooting slump nonsense that you brought up is because he's on the Wizards. That is basketball hell. Okay? Let's check in with Marcus Smart in a couple months.
Do you see the disdain
He's in basketball hell.
in my face right now?
I'm just telling you. Bro, he left basketball hell. He is now with Giannis and Dame. Watch how magically the shooting improves. It's going to be like, oh, wow, what got into Kyle Kuzma? I'll tell you what. Being around winners and not losers. So those are my two winners. Who are yours?
Obviously the Cavs. I think they had a great deadline. I think that you're right with that. DeAndre Hunter, they didn't have to do much.
Yeah.
But that was it, right? Like, I believe that this should work. It should be a perfect fit. We've talked all about it earlier. So there's no question about that. Now, my second team is most certainly not the Bucks. It's the Spurs. Mm-hmm. And the reason that the Spurs had a great deadline is because they kept every single one of their real young assets that they were playing and needed.
Yes, they did.
Trey Jones, okay, we don't need you anymore. Thank you.
Yep.
Zach Collins, okay, we don't need you anymore. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? And they went and got De'Aaron Fox. Mm-hmm. And they have Wemby on a rookie deal. They have the ability, after Chris Paul leaves after this year or Harrison Barnes leaves, they have the ability to go and get somebody else on top of this and make a real three-headed monster, and they already look good as it is. They don't even need it. Stephon Castle is great. Fox has already been talking about how eager he is and how much he wanted to keep Castle there, which is a big reason why he wanted to go to San Antonio. It wasn't just Wemby, but it was Castle as well. These three players together, you add a Jeremy Shohan, you add a Keldon Johnson, you keep all of this core together. This is a Devin Vassell. This is a special Spurs team that could end up leading towards a dynasty. I say. They
could, bro.
You know what
They're
I'm saying?
building a lot like those Duncan Spurs were built.
And the best part about it is there's not the real question marks about like how the Lakers have it. Like, oh, they don't really have a center, and Luka defensively, if he does this and if he does that.
No, they're building it right.
You don't need Fox to take the leap that we needed him to take in Sacramento, because you have Wemby.
Yep.
So Wemby takes care of all of that. So this is a perfect build for the ability to win championships. Now, they go and complete it, that's on them. But as it stands right now, perfect deadline for the San Antonio Spurs.
I think all they got to do is add shooters, and you can do that over the years, and that team's going to be deadly. You may be onto something with a potential dynasty there. As far as losers, I'm going to go Warriors and the Suns. Warriors, I already told you, I hate the Jimmy Butler move. I think it's just minutes, not days, not years, not even hours. We are minutes away from Draymond and Jimmy Butler throwing hands. Okay? That's happening. The other one is the Suns, because I understand not being able to trade Bradley Beal because he's literally holding your franchise hostage. I mean, it's incredible.
Yes.
But you got to move KD. It's so obvious. Beal, KD, and Booker don't work. We called it when it happened that it wasn't going to work. Everyone knew that wasn't going to work out. And here we are. However many years later, saying, man, this doesn't work. No Shaq, Sherlock.
Yeah.
But you gotta change it. You're not gonna trade Booker, at least not right now.
Yes.
Beal can't be traded because of the albatross that is his contract. So then move KD. Start the rebuild. Get Beal out as soon as you can and try to convince, baby, please, if you have to, Devin Booker to stay. But no, they couldn't even get that right. So they're just running it back. That's a big mistake. Losers.
Yeah, I was on the track of calling them my biggest losers. But right before the deadline, they finally got Yusuf Nurkic out of there.
They did.
And that's I wouldn't say he's a locker room cancer because it wasn't his fault. He's a guy who was close to being an all-star at some point in his career.
Yeah.
And the Phoenix Suns, him and, Vogel didn't really have a great connection or whatever. So, not Vogel, but their head coach, didn't have a great connection. So, I understand that the Phoenix Suns, didn't really want to have him there, and and that could cause you to be sour. And like I was saying with the Warriors, when you have that sourness starting to build, it can really destroy a team, right? So they had to get that out. Like I said, not a cancer, but he had the right to feel sour because he is a good NBA player. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I have them third, but my two are the Rockets and the Timberwolves. Now, Rockets fans, I already know. Y'all are in the comments right now typing away, oh, my God, he's a Rockets hater.
You are.
Blah, blah, blah. I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not. I think that when you look at what the Cavs did, when you look at what the Thunder did, which I'll tell you about in a second when I tell you about our smaller deals that we like, is that they went and got they made one trade, but that trade helps them try to win and pursue a championship right now. The Rockets fans are telling me that this team is good enough to make it to the finals. You're telling me that they're good enough to make it to the finals. You bet it.
Yep.
You put your hard-earned money on it.
I believe in them.
So if they're able to do that, there's one knock that they've had on their entire team this year was perimeter shooting.
Yeah, they can't shoot.
Go answer that question. Perimeter shooting. And they went and got Jaden Springer. Now, Jaden Springer is a good player.
It's another defender.
He's a good player. And we loved you here in Boston. I'm glad that you're over there. You have an opportunity to get some minutes, hopefully, and I hope that you thrive. But he's a defender. He's not a shooter. You need a shooter, Travis Thomas.
They could have used Dalton Connect.
And they didn't want to go and get it.
Yeah.
And the reason that I say the Timberwolves is for a similar reason.
Yeah. They didn't do anything.
What did you do?
They didn't do anything.
You have Anthony Edwards. You have a young star, a future face of the league possibly, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't take the opportunity to go and get him something?
Yeah.
Just something. Anything. Because clearly what you've been doing didn't work. You made a trade right before the season started that sent Cat off to New York. He's doing dandelions and roses and cartwheels over there in New York, winning games with Thibodeau and Hart and the Villanova boys.
Yep.
And you got back a team that's sitting, floating around 500.
Yeah.
That is inexcusable to not be making moves at the deadline.
Yep.
You went from Western Conference Finals
to nothing.
To a team that we think is going to get bounced in the first round probably.
No, we don't think.
We know.
We know.
As constructed.
Yeah, Ant can't be happy with that either. As far as small deals that we liked or we didn't like, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Brandon Ingram to the Raptors was a signal to me that his career is over.
Yeah.
Because this guy's had an opportunity to be the man, to be the second fiddle, to be the third fiddle. Now, you getting sent to the Raptors is the same as getting sent to the Wizards. Basketball hell. Congratulations. I was a fan of yours. It's over. What about you?
Man. Yeah, I won't spend too much time either. Daniel Theis to the Thunder. They gave up draft compensation to get Daniel Theis, which they have millions of. And they've had history with injuries with their centers.
Yeah.
Hartenstein's missed time. Chet's now finally coming back.
Yeah.
But he's missed a lot of time. So you need to be able to make sure that when you lose one of these bigs, because let's be honest, it probably will happen again throughout some time this season.
Yep.
You have now a backup big. I'm not saying Daniel Theis is this all-time big, but it's a great move to make sure that they actually have a center in the game.
He's a body.
Who has played, a veteran, played the game of basketball for a long time. This is a good move for them.
Let's talk Celtics post-trade deadline. But first, Red Sox spring training is here, and everyone's watching closely to see if this team is playoff-bound this season. We know you have a lot of questions about the Sox future, so we ask players, coaches, execs, and alum those same questions on Nesson's Baseball Podcast 310 to Left. You can find it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else you get your podcast. All right, so a big nothing burger here for the Celtics, but we expected that as far as the trade deadline goes. I just wonder now, with seeing all these moves of all around the league, it feels like everyone's gearing up. I will just ask you this, because I think regardless of all this noise, it still feels like Nuggets, Thunder, maybe Thunder, Rockets, which would be my bet in the West, and in the East, Cavs, Celtics, or Celtics, Knicks.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't it still just kind of feel like regardless of all these moves, the Celtics still going to win this damn thing, dog?
Yeah, especially after watching this game right here on Tuesday.
I told you they got their swagger back.
Hey, especially after watching that game right there, Travis, where the Celtics won and they beat the Cavaliers 112 to 105. I cannot sit here and tell you that I don't think the Celtics are winning the championship.
I know.
I've been telling everybody that there were some times where I was like, all right, they're not, they're making me a little nervous.
Yeah.
But I think they're still going to be the champs. It's a slump. They'll figure it out. Steve Kerr told us, hey, champions go through this from time to time. It is what it is. I was right there with them the whole way.
Yep.
So I believe that the Celtics are the best team in the league. They're going to win another championship. And after they win this championship, that's when we start asking the questions if somebody else can really get in the door and beat them.
Amen.
But I just think that their experience, them playing with each other, them liking to be here with each other in Boston, not really having any issues, not doing anything at the deadline. You never see this team in the news or the media. That's why I believe the Celtics are the best. Yes, the Thunder are the top of the West. Yes, the Nuggets are the top of the West. Yes, the Cavs are the top of the East. And other than that, who cares?
Yeah, may the show say amen to that. All right, on the way out, one League Pass game that we like. I'm going this weekend, Saturday to be exact. Rockets at Mavs. This could be the Western Conference Finals. I happen to think it could be, or it would be Rockets Thunder, but I understand if people think this Mavericks, this new look, Luka-less Mavericks team gets to the Western Conference Finals, I will be watching that game, and I believe the Rockets get a tough win on the road. And obviously we hear Anthony Davis will make his debut in that game.
Yeah, we're hoping that he does. I'll be excited to see a guy that I'm hoping that makes his debut is Jimmy Butler for the Warriors.
Oh.
So I'll be paying attention to the Warriors at Bucks game on.
Okay.
At Bulls.
Yeah.
On Saturday,
All right.
which will be a really good matchup to watch. Obviously, Jimmy Butler originally started his career there with the Bulls. Maybe the Warriors end up being the last team that he ever plays for, so this will be a cool moment for him to play his first game in a Warriors jersey against the Bulls.
I'm telling you, I feel like you disagree with me, but I still think that is a jackpot for someone. Maybe it's Cooper Flagg. I don't know. But the Bulls need a superstar in the worst way. They've tried since Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, they got it right with Derrick Rose, but we know how that ended.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, the Bulls is a sleeping giant. That market size, that fan base, that franchise, that history, they need a guy. If they get the number one pick, I will buy a Cooper Flagg Bulls jersey. I'm just telling you.
Okay.
I think that would be the dude.
Yeah, I love that they're finally leaning into the tank as well as the Atlanta Hawks, like finally leaning into the tank. Teams that should have done this probably 2 or 3 years ago are finally doing it, and so I'm right there with you, Travis.
No doubt, man. For Ountae Campbell and Travis Thomas, we appreciate you here on Hold My Banner. Till next time when we ask you to hold it again, thanks for rolling with us on the Trade Deadline Special. Till next time, peace.
Deuces.